Jane Hunt.
Speaker, I'm going to deal with just two aspects of productivity as it's a productivity theme for the budget today. And first of all, I'm going to talk about the VAT threshold. So SMEs are the backbone of our economy, both nationally and locally. Not only do they provide jobs that hard-working families depend on, but they are the key to turbocharging productivity across the UK and levelling up our regions and nations. This could not be more true than in my own constituency, where SMEs are responsible for the lion's share of business activity and employment. The last few years have been particularly challenging for SMEs as they have had to navigate various things such as COVID-19, pandemic and the commodity shortages and inflationary pressures brought on by war in Ukraine. I've therefore been fiercely vocal of the need to do all we can to support them. I know that the government has been working hard to protect and support businesses as much as possible through these times, recognising the need to fulfil our responsibility to get the economy back on track. So I welcome a number of announcements in the budget, in particular the decision to increase the VAT registration threshold to £90,000 from the 1st of April 2024. As the Chancellor mentioned during his speech, this is something I have been pressing for, as it will support business with the administrative and financial impact of VAT charges, ensuring they can earn more before paying VAT and spend more time working. Hairdressing businesses and hospitality sector businesses in Loughborough had raised this point with me, and I in turn had brought it to the attention of the Chancellor and also the Business Minister. The increase in the threshold will mean that more money can be earned by these businesses before any VAT is due. This will not only mean that hard-working business owners will get the opportunity to earn more before tax, but also the self-employed trades will be able to complete more work before attracting VAT charges to their contracts. Secondly, as the Chancellor said in his budget speech, the way to improve public services is not always more money or more people. We also need to run them more efficiently. We need a more productive state, not a bigger state. The announcement of the Public Sector Productivity Programme to reform the delivery of frontline public services and improve productivity is welcome news. Alongside the Public Sector Productivity Programme, a £230 million pilot will be established to roll out cost-cutting edge technology such as live facial recognition automation and the use of drones as first responders. It goes on to say that the government will establish a centre for police productivity to support police forces' use of data and deliver this technology, maximising productivity and the use of AI. But again, I would refer my honourable friend back to not always needing more money. I would be interested to hear from my honourable friend whether the remit of this centre will extend to looking at ways to reduce redaction burdens placed on police officers due to data protection requirements. As I have raised in a number of times in the House and currently in the Data Protection Act 2018, contains no provision at all to facilitate the free flow of personal data between the police and the Crown Prosecution Service. The impact of this is that when preparing a case file for a charging decision, the police have to analyse the information which has been gathered by investigating officers in order to identify every item of personal data, decide whether it is necessary for the CPS to consider each item of personal data when making its decision, and redact every item of personal data that does not meet that test. These obligations are only delaying and obstructing the expeditious progress of the criminal justice system, and in some cases adding to the likelihood of the victim withdrawing their support. Much of the data is also never even used by the CPS in cases where they decide not to charge or the defendant pleads guilty before trial. Nationally, about 25% of cases that are submitted to the CPS are not charged. The Police Federation has estimated that on average a staggering 365,000 policing hours are consumed in complying with redaction obligations, which equates to an annual cost to the taxpayer of over £5.6 million. The government has previously highlighted its support for the use of technology to reduce this burden. However, this would only go so far and would still require police officers to oversee the work. The best solution would be to change the law so that the redaction of personal data by the police could occur after rather than before a charging decision has been made by the CPS. That way, only those cases that are to go forward for prosecution would have been worked on. This is a practical solution that prevents the waste of time currently being undertaken by police officers who can then spend more time on the beat, something that my constituents have asked for in a recent crime survey I undertook in Loughborough. The government has been clear that there is a need to reduce administrative burdens on public sector workers and boost productivity. This change, unlike rolling out new technology, would cost nothing to implement, but would save a substantial amount of taxpayers' money and get police officers back on the front line, supporting those communities and tackling crime. And those are the two aspects I wanted to look at. Thank you.
Kate Hollern.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I want to focus